What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Highbury Standard. I know it's been a few weeks since my last video. Of course, the season is officially behind us and the World Cup is fully underway, but we finally have some Arsenal news to talk about, and that's the fact that the 2026-2027 Premier League fixture list has been released. And when I look at a fixture list, there's a couple of things that I immediately look for. The first is the title run-in, right? If you expect to be in a title fight, you have to look at what the last few fixtures of the season are going to be to get an idea as to, when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, do we have a favorable draw? The second thing that I look at is the month of April. I look at what is the level of opposition that we're playing there, and is that going to affect how we do in the Champions League and in the FA Cup if we go very deep into those tournaments, because that's typically when the quarterfinals and the semifinals for these competitions are scheduled. And then I look at the month of December. I look at what our travel looks like in December as well as who we're playing, because a season could be very well be lost or won in December. People say that all the time. And if you're facing on very difficult opposition and you're traveling, all over the country when there's a lot of fixture congestion, it could be very difficult not only to, pick up a decent amount of points, but to also stay fit, stay healthy, which affects your entire season as a whole. And when I look at all of these things, I have to say it's a very, very, very favorable fixture list for the Arsenal. Very favorable. I don't really care too much about how we start the season or who we're playing, because I think it's actually a lot more important about how you finish in the second half and the first half of the season. And I stand by it. The only thing I would say that I like is that our first game is Coventry City at home. I like the fact that we get to open up the Premier League season as the champions at home with our fans against an opposition that we expect to beat comfortably. So I think that's a great way to kind of start the season off on the right foot. But the month of December is where it gets very interesting. So in December, okay, we have Brentford away, Tottenham away, Bournemouth at home, United at home, Crystal Palace away, and Fulham away. So what is that? One, two, three, four, five. Five out of the six fixtures will be in London. And Brentford is, I think, what, an hour and a half north of London at the most. So that's really the biggest travel date that we have is to Brentford. And I think that's fantastic. That's an extra day of rest, extra day of, training, extra day of preparation. That is fantastic. If those fixtures would have gone the other way, you could have easily seen, 3-4 days of travel where the players aren't getting a lot of rest. They don't get a chance to recover, less time for training, less time for preparation. So I think this is massive for us to maximize the amount of points that we can get in December, whilst also ideally, right, of course, you can get smashed and break your Achilles, but minimizing the amount of cramps, injuries, sprained ankles, sprained knees, muscle fatigues that will affect our players' fitness for the rest of the season. So that I'm very happy about. Something else that I'm like kind of overjoyed about is the fact that the last real kind of title rival that we would be playing is Liverpool in February. We're playing City in January, Liverpool in February, and so we're not really facing anybody else. Some people have been flirting with the idea of Man United maybe challenging for a title next year. I don't subscribe to that, but if somehow that comes to fruition, we would play them end of February as well. But that means that March, April, and May we're not really playing any teams that you expect to challenge us for the title, and that's a really good position to be in. And then of course we look at April. We have Coventry City away, Villa at home, and Bournemouth away. Now listen, Villa at home and Bournemouth away could be tough fixtures for us, but when you consider the level of travel that can be involved, the level of opposition that you could be playing against, I really am happy with that fixture running. If you tell me that we have Coventry City away and that's sandwiched by a Bayern or a Real Madrid or an Atletico or a Barcelona, whatever it may be, with that particular fixture, I'm happy. Same thing goes for Villa at home for the simple fact that we don't have to travel, and even Bournemouth away. It's what I think 2 hours south of London, nothing crazy. So I think it works out for us perfectly there, especially if we want to go deep in those tournaments, and I'm expecting us that we do. And then lastly, we have the title run-in. The five fixtures that we're playing in May are Tottenham Hotspur at home, which I expect North London Derby at home. We're in a title race. The atmosphere is going to be the best that it could possibly be. So I, relish that challenge. Leeds United away, so even if they're in a relegation fight, it'll be tough, but the kind of opposition you expect to beat. Forest at home, should be a layup for us. And then probably the toughest game is Everton away. Obviously, they struggled this year. not they struggled, sorry, they were challenging for Europe this year, so it ended up being a tough away ground for City. Could very well be a tough one for us, but when you look at 5 fixtures, one of them are the ones that I look at as maybe a potential banana peel. I'll take it. So I think it's pretty favorable. 3 out of those 5 are at home, and so I think very, very favorable for us. So all in all, guys, I'm happy with this. I'm very, very, very happy about this. Fantastic December, fantastic April to be able to focus on Champions League and FA Cup if we make it far, and then a very favorable title run and if we find ourselves in a title fight come May. So I you couldn't ask for something better. I'm very, very happy about that. I would love to know what you guys think. Is there something about this that you like, something about this that you don't? Any particular, fixtures or runnings here that you're concerned about? Would love to know your thoughts and would love to know what you guys think. You can go to the Arsenal website and find the fixture list for yourself there, and it's all kind of laid out for you. But I'm very, very happy about that. Regarding content, throughout this summer and this off season, really, I don't want to be the channel that is just vomiting content nonstop. I want to actually have good conversations. I was thinking about maybe doing like a keep, buy, or sell analysis of the Arsenal squad, but the problem is that I don't really know how Mikel wants to play. I don't really know what his formation is going to be. I don't even know, what profile of players he wants in certain positions. So it's really hard to be able to do an analysis of the squad and be able to say who should go, what kind of profile of player we should bring in. Maybe I'll do something just to try to make sense of it, but it's felt more like an obligation as opposed to like a high level conversation. So I'm a bit hesitant to do that. I'll let you guys know if I'll drop something. However, if you've been enjoying my content and not so much, obviously, this is an Arsenal fan channel, but if you just enjoyed my analysis of the games, how I've talked about this, how I talk about maybe some sort of tactical approaches to the game as a whole, and you want to, see more of it, I did start a new channel. It's called the No Ball Knowledge Podcast, where I'm talking all things football. A mate of mine started it, and we're focusing on the World Cup right now. But that channel is going to cover everything that's not Arsenal. Premier League football, Champions League football. Of course, we look across Europe's top 5 leagues, international football as well. So check it out. I think you guys are really going to enjoy it. 10, 15-minute videos, particularly into the World Cup. We talk about all the major favorites. We've talked about the good, the bad, and the ugly. A nice little series where we outline kind of the good and the bad about some of these teams and who we think is going to struggle and who we think is going to do well. We also had a match day 1 review, part 1 and part 2, to kind of give you our analysis of how teams are shaping up so far. So go check that out. I'll put the link in the description. If you are going over there and you like what you see, you came more from this channel, please leave a comment over there and let us know that you came from the Highbury Standard, and would love to really grow that community. Thank you guys who have been supporting the channel. If you've been enjoying it, get engaged, leave a comment, leave a like. The more you engage, the more it generally helps me out. So thank you so much. It's been a nice little start, and I've loved the engagement that we've had so far. So thank you. Keep an eye out for more content, and for any transfer related news, I'll make sure to cover and let you know what I think. But yeah, very decent fixture list. Very happy. Let me know your thoughts. I'll see you on the next one. Thanks.